done.
LunatiK has banned out Illidan. Surprise. Eclipse has banned out Rhaegar. And for first pick, LunatiK has picked up Sylvanas. Sylvanas is such a strong pick on smaller maps like the Haunted Mines or this one, Tomb of the Spider Queen. So she can really just help push down lanes, and if you don't have anyone kind of ganking her or getting rid of her really, really quickly, you can just see her kind of really push her advantage hardcore, man.
Absolutely. And I do believe that this is your first time on Tomb of the Spider Queen, but you do know this map very well. Tell us about a few things that you're going to want to try to get done on this map.
Oh man, first off, you want to fight, because this map is incredibly small. The lanes aren't much, I guess, area that you have to traverse to get to another lane really quickly, so you can kind of just gank a lot, and you want to have roaming squads, and Eclipse seems to be doing that already. They're picking up Diablo, looks here, and potentially a second hero, but really, it's so easy to get across the map on this map. If you just jump on your mount, run across, suddenly you're in the top lane, and then next thing you know, you're in the bottom lane. It's really, really crazy how much you'll see teams gank if they overextend too much. So we'll see what exactly Eclipse plans to do here, but it looks like they want to potentially pick off a lot of kills early.
And a lot of kills is going to be a really good way to go about it. And in terms of some of the team comps I've seen on this map in the past, we've actually seen like solo tank Nubarak, solo tank Tyraels, not traditionally some of those tougher heroes, but they have a lot of lockdown and a lot of big coordinated burst potential. So far though, Eclipse, they're going to go with the Diablo. Now, will this be an Apocalypse Diablo? It has been the favored way to go about it, but I would not be surprised to see a Lightning Breath to go with some huge burst. And on the back of her, it's going to be the Jaina.
Yeah, Lightning Breath actually will make sense on this map. There's a lot of small corridors, especially when you get to the actual areas for those forts and stuff. Like Lightning Breath can cover that entire area and force your opponents to run away. So yeah, I think Lightning Breath would make sense on this map. But we'll see what the rest of the picks will be for Eclipse before they actually go for the heroics. But you're right, Uther and Tyrande would be the pickups here for Sylvanas. I believe Tyrande at this point was just a straight up pickup to be like, hey, we can use the 100 mark, we can use the call potential, but also we don't want the Diablo Tyrande roam, because that is incredibly powerful, especially pulled off well.
Absolutely, but I also believe that LunatiK Esports with that pickup is going to be looking for a Kerrigan or a Thrall as their as a melee, because this Divine Shield with no Illidan on the table and no Rhaegar, Divine Shield for a melee like the Kerrigan or like that Thrall, it could actually do some fantastic initiation purposes here for LunatiK. So I'm also now trying to think if they're actually really going to go for a tanky tank.
Yeah, interesting. We'll see if they do that, because Uther can kind of be just a tank too, that we've seen from a lot of players as they picked up the amplified healing and such. And Tyrande's heal, although small, when you have amplified healing, could be actually pretty big on someone like Uther that can run in. So yeah, we'll see what will happen. Zagara will be picked up here. Again, it's just nice to pick up someone like Zagara when you're going against a Sylvanas, just because you can kind of get the equal might of head split pushing back and forth. You can split push on a different side of the lane or split push with Sylvanas and just kind of equal out what potentially she can do. So Tassadar will be the follow-up as well here for Eclipse, and looking straight over to LunatiK. It looks like they're gonna grab that ETC.
So the battle count for the lockdown, they got the Uther, and there's the Kerrigan that I thought that they were going to be setting up for. This is 2 for 2 now with LunatiK on such a small roam heavy map. LunatiK Esports has a fantastic early game comp to try to nail some of these kills.
Yeah, they really do. And Eclipse, luckily for them, again, that's another point for picking up Zagara, is those creep tumors, man. They are so helpful for watching the turn-ins, but also watching out for the ganks that can come your way. Kerrigans and Tyrande are probably going to roam together. It could potentially be Kerrigan or ETC, but they're probably going to roam together, which means they're going to be bouncing between lane, which means Zagara can kind of prevent that by dropping creep tumors and saving her teammates with just the power of vision.
Now, we do have the last spot here for Eclipse. Vala is not on the board, would you believe? She is not even considered as a pick as of yet. But in terms of the damage, I'm not entirely too sure Eclipse is going to need the damage potential, because almost guaranteed LunatiK's going to engage and try to pick off someone. If we can get a little bit more toughness into that, more shields or more heals, I think that could really go a long way for their comp. But that being said,
we need Murky. That's what we need. We need
yes,
Murky. That's
you just
kind
jump
of
on the Murky. Just jump
green.
on the Murky and you just have it all reset. No, it is going to be the heals though. They do need a little bit more toughness and heals there. In fact, actually, I even forgot that we didn't have a healer ready for Eclipse.
Yeah, man, we all know that healing ward. Okay, so yeah, moving into Brightwing. Brightwing makes sense. Some nice disengage from ETC and Kerrigan. Kerrigan, you can totally mess up her combos if you pop the Polymorph right after she leaps, and you can just burst her down and punish her. Brightwing, especially when you hit level 20, can really just use that late game with the rewind and really just kind of nullify Kerrigan and potentially ETC as well. So I like the Brightwing pick. You have a nice amount of kiting backwards. You have some decent sustained heal when you're kind of trying to push down lanes with Zagara. And then, of course, you just have the way to nullify the huge potential jump-ins that could happen.
Well, will we be able to nullify some of those jump-ins? Will Eclipse be able to pull another win out of the hat here? Because they are 2 for 2 so far. Into the semis they now go, but LunatiK Esports was a very dominant power in our last matchup, at one point having a 4-level lead over their opponents. They might bring the pain with this Kerrigan ETC lockdown, with the early roam from the Tyrande, the Uther. Sylvanas as a split. I mean, if she's left to her own devices because you're too busy trying to dodge out Kerrigan hooks, that could be some devastating damage out there.
Regardless what happens this game, do know at home, guys, that you'll be watching a lot of aggression happening on this map. People will die. They will be killed off, and they will have to respawn. So here we go. 4 seconds and counting. 3, 2, 1. We're heading into Tomb of the Spider Queen. Let's go to that loading screen.
All right, sounds like a plan. And again, this is the newest map. We haven't had a huge amount of practice on it. A lot of the teams have been tinkering with some of these comps, and they have now settled on these bigger blow-up, engage, early game kind of comps. Because, collecting gems, turning in gems, you can't turn in gems when you're dead. And when you die, you do lose them as well. So if you want to try to keep down the potential of your opponents having those web weavers come to their sides, you just got to straight up kill them.
Yep. You'll see actually in the early game as well. You get the blow up comps for blowing up of course, your opponents, but it's also helpful for getting rid of those fighters as mentioned by Jester there. So, all right, here we go. Into the game. Blue team on the left. We have Silo on ETC. Hospital once again donning that Kerrigan. Oh my gosh, Prodigies, I believe. Yes, on Uther. I hit the tab button. Shot on Tyrande, and then Ivy Slime on Sylvanas.
They're playing Ring Around the Rosie on that middle keep.
Pocket full of posies.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Red team.
Side, yeah, flip side is going to be Azurfire, D-Money, Technic, CGGG, and of course Jim here as well. We've seen both these teams already on stream, and now they're both coming together for a clash of the titans, so to speak. A very small map indeed, and so many events. You brought up a great point with Zagara during the draft. If we can't actually control some of those creep tumors, that's so much free vision going back and forth.
Alright, so spreading out all the creep tumors right now, just going to go ahead and lock down that area. I wonder if Zagara's going to go ahead and head top. And if she does, yeah, she is heading top. So smart play here from the red team. Strategically, we're throwing down a couple creep tumors down in the bottom lane. That way we can keep an eye there, and she just runs straight to the top, because eventually she'll get creep tumors up there as well. So CGG now will start putting pressure on top of ETC, and ETC will do mildly decent against Zagara. He has the potential, if a gank does come up the top lane, to kind of lock her down, but also he's got some sturdy health. He can kind of deal with the Hydras a little bit, especially with that block talent.
So Tassadar up against the Sylvanas for the bottom lane. How does that actually match up in your experience, Tim?
Not bad. Tassadar, again, whenever you have that shield up, you trade with pretty much any hero in the game. So you'll see him shield up and he goes straight in attacking Slime. In fact, he is so confident, he actually positions behind her in case she tried to E away. Slime decided to go ahead and just keep on pushing throughout the entire thing. But for the most part, Azurfire has the Psy Storm that can really deal with the wave pretty well, and they can trade pretty efficiently. So if I'm Sylvanas, I don't expect to get too much damage on these walls here, but I'm definitely going to be using my W to try and push as hard as possible.
Well, speaking of those trades, it will be the kills traded out there in the mid for the first bloods going back and forth. It's a heck of a lot of CC here for the LunatiK side of things, and I expect them to actually come down and see if they can put some pressure there on top of Azurfire, because you can see Slime's just having a heck of a time with it. But actually, it's going to be the reverse. It's going to be here on top of Slime instead. I'm not entirely too sure. He was caught unawares on that one, and had that stun come out a split second later, I think they would have been able to cancel out the teleport. But, well, Slime will live to see another day, but just barely.
Got away with like 9 HP. Whew, that was close for the Sylvanas player. All right, looking into pure experience overall, it looks like the red team is just a little bit ahead here. Starting to get a decent amount of gems. They have 5 turned in. Remember, they're going to need a total of 50 before they actually get that map mechanic to be in their favor. But overall, for what we were expecting, the early games have been a little bit more passive than I was thinking. I thought Kerrigan would kind of be all over the place, but she's kind of been floating around the middle map here just trying to get some kind of combo. There we go, it finally lands. There goes the 100 mark into Lunar Flare. Will D-Money fall? It looks like Sylvanas will get it with a nice Q there, and from there, a beautiful kill for the blue team as they secure level 4.
Now, Diablo was carrying a heck of a lot of those gems, and I mean now we're just a little bit lower on that regard. And every hero kill is also going to be 3 gems generated here for LunatiK. So they're going to look actually to control for this turn-in. It looks like Slime has 12 to go put in, and Azurfire is saying he's not going to have any of that. Throws down that Side Storm, but at the same time, we got the turn-ins from top as well. The scouting drone in that vent is going to be providing a little bit of an early warning system on roams as well. Everybody wants to get these gems in, Tim.
Yeah, Kerrigan's even rotating here too as well because they need to get them off that turn-in. Again, just trying to prevent turn-ins is the name of the game here. And finally, everyone will go ahead and fully retreat. CCGG throws down a few more creep treatments as well, just trying to really just set up the place for her teammates. And she's getting that top lane pushed a little bit as well, so they might have a potential turn-in available to them if they want to try now. Here we go. Zagara's turning in 12 gems potentially. Kerrigan coming in from the top left corner. Will she engage? Nope, doesn't find an angle. And from there, 12 gems are now in.
Yeah, and dunking down those gems as often as you can means you can't lose them out, but this is a 4-man collapse on top of the CG into the top. Zagara has no way to get around those body blocks. She's going to throw down the minions. The roaches is there with that Hydra, but it's not going to be enough for a return kill. And those are now, thank God that you put in those gems, right? 12 would have been just reduced out of the pool from Eclipse.
It's pretty funny, Zagara, man, just has such a hard time against Kerrigan. She juked once, and then when she realized that the combo didn't come out for Kerrigan, she just stood there. She's like, yep, it's over. It's done. Goodbye, crew world. And unfortunately, Zagara falls. The blue team gets a little bit more experience, and they're on their way to level 7, moving a little bit quicker than their opponents, which means they might potentially get to level 10, unless the red team can get a turn-in or secure a couple kills themselves.
Well, in terms of kills, this is actually one of the lowest kill counts I've had early game for Team of the Spider Queen. Slime is once more going up against Azurfire into the bottom, but the Withering Fire comes out very strong for that burst. Slime's still a little bit more on the back foot and's got to be very careful of that Diablo, and I think he has a little bit of a spidey sense saying that, well, the Diablo's missing from mid. He's not on the map. He's likely to come down. We've seen so many scouting drones from Technic just trying to keep this vision control. You see D-Money going in for a bit of an engage.
Jen's being a little bit passive with his Blizzard. I'd like him to be a little bit more aggressive. D-Money, though, potentially taking too much damage here. Finally will get away. Luckily, Diablo has a pretty robust health bar, but this does give the blue team time to turn in here because Diablo's been forced to pull back and heal up. Can they get the turn in? There we go. LOL finishes it, and we finally have our first map mechanic of the game. Yeah, 5 minutes in. The Web Weavers are likely just to start battering on some of the gates, some of the towers. We don't really have a ton of siege damage this early game from either side. Some very healthy gates and towers, so I wouldn't really expect to see too much more coming out of that, but still, any number of towers will put the team with the Web Weavers, which is LunatiK, in the lead, and that's going to be great for their race to 10. Nice job in the top lane. D-Money and Jim and Technic really working together there to secure a kill on top of ETC, which you don't really care about the experience of the kill too much. Yeah, it's great, but they actually denied 21 gems and now will be able to deal with that spider. The middle lane, though, getting pushed here by Kerrigan and Sylvanas, trying to break down this turret really quickly here. If they can get the wall with an early turn in here, that will be fantastic. That would be a great trade for them. Yeah, level 8 now going both ways. 21 gems is a fairly significant deny this early on because they're going to need 60 on the side of LunatiK for the next turn. That's a third now missing out of the count. And you can see the counts in the top corners here as well. Oh, man. Hospital with a beautiful combo. One member, it looks like Zagara did fall. Technic almost falling as well, but he will pop his heals. But with that huge member of Zagara being killed off, and now Tassadar, this fort is in so much trouble. Look at it just fall. Yeah, we had the Bruisers pushing in with that as well. Bruisers augmenting those Web Weavers, and then the engages from Hospital has really put those 2 kills into a good snowball position because this tower is going to drop. It's going to be very close now to the heroic tier of level 10, and the Bruisers are actually in danger of bringing down a tower, but actually, as I say, that looks like they're going to get cleaned up pretty quick. So level 9 to almost the 10. LunatiK a little bit on edge here in the beginning. And then we have the blue team in the bottom. They just go ahead and rotate down. They went down there to get the experience, but also are grabbing these turns as they have secured level 10. Uther scouting the top left corner for any potential flank that could happen. A good way to kind of break a push from happening is the flank behind them, and Uther kind of nullifies that by just being in that area. They will have the entire team run up here to these knights, and they want to fight now. They know they have the advantage. But overall, Diablo did a good job of pushing Uther away and really just allowing his team to kind of spread out and try and get their way to level 10 as well.
Look at Slime just juggling out those black arrows. He's been keeping these bruisers at bay, already bringing down one of them in half, and now the rest of them going to be dropping fairly quick. So those bruisers are not getting nurtured out by Eclipse, and that means that you're not really going to see a lot of value out of them.
Okay, level 10 about to be secured for the red team. Sylvanas doing her best to push, as mentioned by Jester there earlier, using that that passive there to really help out with kind of locking this down. But finally, a turn-in does occur here for the red team. How are they going to utilize these spiders? That is the real question here. Zagara is the main one we'll have to keep the eye on. She's the one that's going to help out with really helping break down these towers.
Well, it's going to be a heck of a push. Wow, the web weavers really spawn far forward there for red, but unfortunately, I mean, the middle one is at least going to get chunked down, already down to 50% hit points from the waiting arms of Hospital and Proteges and Shot. And well, there goes the mid, as we said. Bottom is not looking so hot here either. Slime had its number, and the roam, the 5-man roam from Eclipse, looks like they're going to be trying their luck here at the bottom lane keep, or the bottom lane gate, I should say.
Yeah, really nice job there from the blue team of doing a textbook defense on this map. You put 3 in one lane, the lane that's getting pushed by your opponents, and then just one-on-one on the other side to kind of split up. Here we go. The engage. Stage dive here from Sylo. Well, Slime hit a pretty solid silence as well. Will there be a full-on engagement? Diablo chasing down Sylvanas here.
Yeah, they're really trying. The Apocalypse goes off as well. We had the mob put Hospital into the ground, but there goes the guard, just kind of out of the gas in the tank. The Tassler as well doesn't even get off that prescience. Sorry, the Dimensional Warp, but 1, 2, and 3. Here goes the 4th as D-Money is going to drop. He'll be back in 5 seconds, but cannot say the same for the rest of the team. And a very favorable exchange going the way of LunatiK.
Yeah, that fight was going really well for the red team until Divine Shield came out from Prodigies. As soon as Kerrigan was able to dive in, use that Maelstrom, and pick off 2 members, the fight just really fell into the advantage of the blue team, and they totally rolled with it. They got 3 kills all completely there, got themselves to level 13. Beautiful team fight overall, and a nice bait with the Divine Shield. Kerrigan looked like she was about to be bursted down by Jaina, but unfortunately with the Divine Shield coming out, all that damage was nullified.
And that, I really do think that that was the big tip-off, that between the Tyrande and that Uther and the second wave of picks for LunatiK, that really did kind of spark something of, well, we're likely to see a Kerrigan out of that. The Divine Shield this meta is so good, Trixler.
Yeah, very powerful, especially with the amplified heals by Uther, especially when he's killed off. And oh man, poor Sylvanas just trying to sit next to her turret and just gets picked off immediately there. She didn't have a chance, Jester.
Nope, not at all. The Queen of Frost is not a very sturdy back line damage. She is very much a glass cannon in that regard. But when it does come to it, level 13 is going to be her surviving tier. We'll have to see what she's going to get to augment that survivability.
All right, well, Jaina now spawning, but she has to get all the way across the map here. Diablo, Zagara, and Brightwing trying to poke a little bit. If they could potentially get someone a little bit on the weaker side, that'd be great. There goes the scouting drone, but it's too late here. We do have Diablo running on in, and it looks like the golem was grabbed for the blue team, so nicely done. Apocalypse does go down as well. Uther in trouble, low on health in the back. There goes the Divine Shield. Archon being focused down. Diablo, though, in the back line, creating a mess overall. And for a decent portion here, the red team looks like they started a great fight, but the blue team is turning around, getting 2 kills here. Now a third.
Yeah, and here goes that's going to be the 3rd there as well, because we do got Technic and CG just way too far in the back. They did back up to try to deal with this golem, but that did leave the rest of their team really far forward, and the collapse was big. They did take some early kills in that, and with that Sylvanas and the Uther, began, they kill off the Uther, but he still has that flashlight with that ghost form, and he's still very much a part of that fight. So it's really hard to kind of deal with that, especially with the survivable ETC. Kerrigan with her assimilation is not so easy to kill off without huge burst as well. So the survivability game is huge here for LunatiK as they're looking for a kill here on top of D-Money.
Oh my gosh, this top lane is in so much trouble, especially with Dibbles being picked off, and now the keep using that Sylvanas pass is going to start being broken apart as well. It looks like this is done for, and this will give the blue team level 16. Can they keep up the engagement? They still have Kerrigan. There's only 3 members here. Now a 4th joining with Brightwing. They decided to play passive and pull on back, but overall, great job by the blue team. They take that advantage of having the golem and the spider in one lane and get a keep for it.
How many gems can we actually turn in here? Only looks like about 30 or so, which is half the required numbers for LunatiK. They do need 60 now. I did misspoke a little bit earlier with the 60 math. Math is hard, you know, Tim, on stream.
Oh, yeah,
but
definitely, man.
they do get half their turn in one go. So they are very much in the map position here to kind of just sit back and farm and look for the web weavers. Or they could just, you know, not even really rely on them as much. Go with these bruisers, go get those siege giants into the bottom lane and just look to do some split pushing.
All right, man, for the red team. What do you do here, Jester? What are you thinking? Like, what's the big deal? What do they have to do in a team fight to secure a win?
You need to get a pick, but I mean, the pick is going to require some pretty severe burst, and right now, I'm not entirely confident we have that. I mean, the Zagara with the Maw is going to have to be like a 3 or 4 man Maw, and they just collapse on top of everyone else. You can keep people still down with the Apocalypse following it up as well, but it has to be some really good combo with those two ultimates in order to create a very favorable team fight position here.
What I would try to do maybe here is I would go for like a Diablo engage on Kerrigan, pull her back, throw a polymorph on her, and then expect my entire team to retreat. Hopefully at that point, you could potentially get Uther to throw down a Divine Shield. If you can get some kind of major heroic baited out and not lose any members for it, the red team would be in a much better position. So hopefully they can do something there. You want to try and make them waste cooldowns on situations that they don't have to use them in.
Well, that's going to be hard to execute, I feel, because if they mistime any of that, the Kerrigan's just going to turn around and do the stun combo, and now you're not looking so swift.
Oh, it's hard. I mean, no doubt about that. Like but that's the thing. Is like sometimes you put yourself in a situation where you have to take high risk, high reward strategies to get yourself back in the game. And I want to see something from the red team here, because right now they're playing passive, man. And to be fair, they kind of have to. But sometimes you have to do an aggressive play to get yourself on even footing.
Yeah, the underdog bonus would come in really big there as well, gaining a little bit more experience for every kill that you can grab. And, you know, it could be the start of the comeback if they can execute a comp like that. But right now, as you said, they are very much on the defensive. They're just trying to let the experience come to them, hide behind their walls, look for that 16 talent tier, because they are fighting a tier down. And that's a big difference in power. The level 16 tier is so good for so many of these heroes.
All right, so right now it's a 5v4 situation. Diablo kind of posturing here, acting like he wants to do something, but they do have the threat of ETC stage diving in behind their entire team. So an engagement has to be on point here. They have to get rid of someone very quickly. And in fact, Technic just used one of his polymorphs on the Tyrande. So at this point, they can't really go in for an engagement. That polymorph is important. At the same time, Brightwing can't be too aggressive because she has 26 gems. They're balancing too much stuff right now, and they gotta find a way. It's super hard, but you can tell why they're playing so passive right now. They just have too many gems. There's too much to lose if they fight. But if you don't fight, you're gonna keep losing throughout the entire game. So eventually they have to make a decision and go.
Well, I think the decision was just made for them. The time to go is no longer really there. The next turn-in is going to be once more the web weavers coming into the lane, and they're going to get more and more powerful as time goes on. And that's a very smart way for this map to be set up. If you're stuck on the defensive, you could just lose straight in through turn-ins with those web weavers now pushing in. I fully expect to see keeps going down here.
Yep, totally agree. And we have ETC pushing the top lane nicely done there, because he's going to have catapults plus the major push from the map mechanic. He's going to be able to break things down and start hitting the core, which is going to put the red team on a timer. I like this play from the blue team. Here we go. Looks like deep money. He wants to move in on Sylvanas. Sylvanas keeps getting a little bit aggressive with her stepping. I think he can get a combo in pretty quickly, especially if we have the polymorph form Technic. Just a matter of time here. They have to make something happen.
Well, you see Sylvanas hitting that keep. It is disabling the auto attacks from that tower. We do got the clap now looking CG. He's going to get free with that Maw. Silo into the back, but he's not going to be the target. There's the Apocalypse, and the Hospital gets low, but it's not quite the kill. Proteges with the clutch heals at the end of it all as well. He's not going to drop, but Hospital is now finally dead. Tyrande, and now the Uther. They've only paid for it with that Zagara as well. So we said this. You got to get that high risk, high reward. You got to get those Maws, and the 3-man boss set us up beautifully here for Eclipse.
That was the play that we needed. Well done by the red team, getting the 3-person wall, and they didn't overchase Sylvanas. As soon as Sylvanas was out of position where she couldn't get damage into the fight, and she already used her arrow, you saw Diablo pull back and jump on top of that Maw and hit the combo. Beautifully done. They did a great job of really being disciplined there and making sure to hit the high priority targets, and it got them a nice secured kill. Now, they're only going to be hitting level 18 here now. If they can get a turn in, that's when they can start turning this game around and really utilize this advantage to the full potential. So I want to see a turn in right meow.
Right, meow.
Right, meow.
Meow, meow, meow. No, let's not get into it. Anyways, 105 gems to the name of Eclipse. They can for sure do this turn-in. They got the map positioning, and there's nobody here to stop them, in the famous words of Blackheart. Now, at the same time, CG and Azure Fire into the top. They're going to start out this boss, and again, I think they are in a really good position in order to capitalize on it.
They do have to be careful because doing this boss will be illustrated on the mini-map. So you've seen them trying to burst it down before the map mechanic does spawn, because it will show a little yellow on the mini-map, but already the blue team knows it there. You see Kerrigan leading the charge, Uther running in as well. He doesn't have a Divine Storm, he needs to be a little bit careful here. If he had Divine Storm, he could totally run in and charge in and do something, but it looks like the golem's been killed off already. Uther in trouble. Beautiful combo from Hospital, wow. But the Devouring Maw does go down. 3 members do get caught, technically trying to help out. Zagar has already been killed off, and the Divine Shield Kerrigan is running towards Jim, and Jim, just dies up the combo, so nicely done, but Brightwing now being killed off, and suddenly 2 members down for the red team, potentially a third here with Jim falling, and the blue team makes a play.
Yeah, they came in really strong there with Hospital, with Slime. That silencer at the end of it really did put Brightwing off his game because we couldn't get that Emerald Wind out. We couldn't get that Polymorph out in time. 3 team members dead here, and we're going to go for the win. Was there a golem? Yeah, there's totally a Grave Golem marching down top, but we have the red turn-in, and it's going to be blue just ignoring all of that. They're going for the sniper on core, and the 3-man defense, I'm not sure it can hold.
Oh man, I don't think they can at all, Jester. Everything's getting right-clicks here on the core, going down to 25%, now falling to 410, and it looks like this will be game. Well played overall by the blue team. Red team had a couple of awesome flash plays here and there, and you know, had they not been caught by the Kerrigan combo in the late game, I could have seen this game going even further into the late game, but overall, nicely done. 20-19 will be the final score on the scoreboard. Well done.
Once more, LunatiK Esports do find themselves into a victorious situation, and they are once more going into the finals here of the ESL Go4 Americas Cup number 18 finals, the first of the best of 3 rounds that is going to be here in this tournament. Not to take away from Eclipse, we saw them with a really good win in the first game, and then prevailing over top of Goon Squad. I know because I've personally seen Goon Squad do some amazing things in their games, and you know, that late game, that almost comeback, that really shows the quality there of Eclipse. So a little bit more practice, we might have ourselves another contender for things like majors and some sponsorship even.